Now let me switch into English, because we are proud to have with us a Dutch minister. Let me introduce to you Sigrid Kaag, the Minister for Foreign Trade and Development Cooperation, the Netherlands. And I'm switching into English because we know there are many people from Dutch community online. What we know is that there is a virtual economic mission on Italy that has started on circular economy. We know that Italy and Netherlands are allied on circular economy and green economy on many issues for similar reasons, for similar mentality, for similar capacity of investments in innovation. So Sigrid is not only a minister, Sigrid is also the leader of a very important party in the Netherlands since 4 September 2020, Democrats 66. So in a way, she would like to tell us, I hope she would like to tell us about the targets and the commitment of the Dutch government, and what about the cooperation between Dutch and Italy. So let me ask if Sigrid can hear us. Sigrid, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you very well. Thanks for being with us. You know, the States General of the Green Economy is the most important event in Italy, and we are proud that you are with us, and also that there is started with the cooperation about the mission on circular economy with Italy. We know that you have worked a lot also in the United Nations environment for many years, and in many different agencies, so you have also a global vision. So please, the floor is yours. Let us know what is your point about the future of the green agenda and the cooperation between Italy and Netherlands.
Thank you so much, and I'm delighted to be here. And of course, warm welcome also to everyone online. And of course, they always say that change begins at home. It's a well-worn phrase, but as you can tell, maybe from my fairly domestic environment too, I'm at home. I had hoped, you know, anticipating we could travel to Rome, to Italy, to be with you in person on this trade mission. But of course, Corona forced us all to change our habits, but perhaps also to rethink, and it allows us to go to a reset. So one of the opportunities, I believe, is that we're organizing this virtual trade mission, and it follows a warm and an important relationship between the two countries, which goes back, I would say, centuries. And I think all of us have fond memories of visits and meetings in Italy, and we hope to, of course, to continue this conversation in person again, be it in your country or in ours. But before I continue with actually the content of my speech, I'd really like to thank the Sustainable Development Foundation and the National Council for the Green Economy, nicely lit up behind you, for hosting this conference, because we share a wide range of climate ambitions. And I think this is what we're all here for. And the circular economy, to my mind, is actually an important part of this. It's the how, it's the way we will achieve a green economy. It's a necessity in a green transition. And it provides us with opportunities and moments in time, such as this period, I believe, are an important reminder of what we can do, how we can achieve it. We are, of course, also working together on climate issues in the European Council, Italy and the Netherlands, the G20, and the run-up to the COP26 summit. And I'm glad that we have this moment today to exchange views and to hear one another's ideas. This virtual trade mission, of course, counts 100 Italian and 30 Dutch companies, all innovative organization, one shouldn't be surprised, but with expertise in areas ranging from water technology to textiles and sustainable fashion. And we've launched it yesterday, but I'm wearing a co-production, Italian-Dutch co-production, sustainably produced, Italian design, Dutch design, fabrics. It's top of the range. And it's an example of everything that is possible at scale if the right brains, investors, and of course the expertise is around the table to make this happen. So our purpose in this mission is, of course, also to enhance the strong trade relations between our two countries, but also really to spark new innovative partnerships that, to my mind, are part of this pathway to the future, which is a green inclusive agenda, which will yield the economic dividends, which will produce the types of jobs we need for the future, and allow us to accelerate out of this old way of producing. Now, we are meeting, of course, virtually today because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and allow me also to express our condolences and sympathies again also to the people of Italy for the tremendous hardship you have suffered, the losses in your personal lives, but of course also the economic hardship. I hope that you know that you can count on us. We may have passed through some, a few ripples on the way in the negotiations, but we are loyal friends and we appreciate the importance of Italy and its people, because ultimately a pandemic can strike as it has anyone, anywhere, and there is no pride in being a little bit less hit. There is pride, I think, in justice, in coming out of this crisis stronger and together. It's a shared humanity, but it's also logical for us as European Union member states and so closely aligned with one another. But how we get out of this pandemic, of course, is not an easy task. We have numbers of meetings on it, each one of us in our own countries, at government level, but of course also at a European level. But I think the one big lesson of this crisis, of course, is that we need to work together, we need to cooperate, we need to co-invest, we need to share knowledge, we need to exchange, and we need to focus on the weakest link. There is no way out of the crisis if we do not strengthen the weakest link. We've seen the tremendous courage displayed by all those involved in medical care, the nurses, the doctors, and of course, a number of countries, Italy, the Netherlands, are also working together on the quest towards a vaccine. But in the meantime, we also need to take stock of this moment to think what this means for our economy. How do you build resilience? And of course, how do we tackle once and for all the impact of climate change, and how do we adapt and how do we mitigate? Because we know that major ecological and human systems are too complex to just change overnight. But the degradation we've seen around us due to climate change, the loss of biodiversity, and the onset of greater challenges, significantly greater than this pandemic, is very clear. So we need to act. We know that we've set a number of targets, of course, in Paris. We're aware of the sciences, and yet what does it take for us to really change our production and consumption patterns? Given the fact that global warming has and will remain the greatest challenge of our generation, but that of the next generation. And I'm always very encouraged, but slightly also embarrassed. And you're a bit younger than me, but I don't know if you feel the same. When young people ask you why we are slow to act, because it is their future. The fact that young people are climate depressed, and at the same time young people take to the streets, and rightly so, to demonstrate, to ask their right, and to ask for our vision, choices, and they demand our political will to turn the tide, because collectively we're at the helm of a ship that is sailing still in the wrong direction. So now it's now or never. And of course, we're delighted with the Green Deal at a European level. Country level, we need to do more to achieve the goals of Paris. But where we fail yet to set the agenda right is on the circular economy. Now, the Netherlands prides itself on being quite ahead of the curve when it comes to examples of the circular economy. My pitch today, and I believe that the fashion industry is one of the many examples, the circular economy is a clear key for us to demonstrate that recovery can be green, can be inclusive, needs to be circular for us to meet the goals of the Paris Accord faster, and to phase out the fossil fuels, and at the same time lower any level of degradation on the environment that our current modes of production are still producing. Otherwise, we will fail to keep global warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius. The circular economy is a very, very important element in our ability to change this. This is why I believe, rightly so, this trade mission has tabled the green economy, the circular economy, as two mainstays of our mission to twin companies together to innovation, expertise, technology, and the investors, to demonstrate the business case around the circular economy, to broaden the scope, and hopefully lift it from textiles, fashion, to many other sectors where both Italy and the Netherlands are competitive, are cutting edge, can lead the way, and build a new economy. That is part of the building block towards a fully green economy. It's not just the Paris Accord, it is our entire economic ecosystem that we need to lift and change. And of course, there are many cynics. One last maybe word of caution. We know that in the midst of a crisis, a health crisis and a socioeconomic crisis, many cynics or doubters will say, now is not the time. We neither have the money. We need to go back to the old normal. And my plea would be that we focus on a new future, a different future that is both climate proof, aligned with Paris, relevant for the future of the new green jobs that are highly digital, that are skills-based, but that creates for the pathway towards a green recovery where the emphasis is on green. And our companies, both in Italy and the Netherlands, I believe, are very keen. A number of them are looking for the regulatory frameworks. They're asking for the right fiscal incentives to make the switch. And there's an increasing number of companies that want to be SDG relevant and climate focused. And it's a government responsibility to enable them to make that transition, to allow consumers to buy the types of products that are green and truly transparent, in line with what I believe is new consumer ethics in terms of their purchases, what they'd like to wear in this case, and how they would like to be seen, because we're all in this together, from producer to consumer, government to non-government, and in your case, of course, also large organizations that have a real role to play in this regard. So I hope that our virtual mission is both a sign of the many new innovations to come that are relevant, attractive, and effective, as well as lucrative, because jobs are at stake. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Sigrid. Very interesting point. And thank you also for opening the item of circularity, because we spoke a lot about climate change in the first part of this session, but circular economy is the other big pillar that we should invest upon. So thanks for having put this on the table. And when you mentioned the cooperation between Italy and the Netherlands, we know as a foundation, we made studies and we investigated that Italy and the Netherlands are the first two, the leaders in Europe about circularity rate. So how much do we recycle and reuse and put in the loop? So I think, and you mentioned fashion, where you have a great group of Dutch designers, and Italy, of course, long fashion history, and this could be a field of action where we could cooperate.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Thanks very much for this, and this would be this mission can be the occasion to start this cooperation.
I believe so.
One very last question. Our Undersecretary of State Fraccaro told us at the beginning that he proposed that the Green Deal is very important, and you know it better than us because there is a Dutch commissioner for climate, Mr. Timmermans, who speaks Italian perfectly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But Fraccaro proposed that maybe in some occasions the member states could go beyond the limit of 3% of the budgetary limit if the investments are dedicated only to green economy and climate, you know, to restart the economy with this. What do you think about this in a very few words?
Well, I have to take off my government hat. I have to put on my party leadership hat.
That's why I asked you.
I think it's a very interesting one. You know, of course, we speak a lot in Europe on the conditionalities of recovery, which is very important. The structural issues that need to be tackled that have been exposed by COVID, but were there before. And I think we all need to look at ourselves, how we can manage and do this collectively. However, if there is scope for recovery to be green and to move faster, then I believe there needs to be a smart hedgeway to allow for that to happen. However, of course, the devil's in the detail.
Yes,
in my experience, a lot of people talk green but don't act green. So it sounds like an interesting notion, but I would need to understand the greater detail around this. But ultimately, all of us, budget-wise, member states, we need to really consider much more how far we can push the green agenda, because we will regret this. This is a historical moment to my mind.
Thanks very much, Sigrid. Thanks for this very positive answer and for the cooperation and for the bridge between Italy and Netherlands in this very difficult period. So good luck
Thank
for
you.
your work. Hope to see you again in the next editions of the States General of the Green Economy.